Thank you, Presiding Officer, and thank you to Edward Mountain for bringing forward the debate. Unfortunately, my colleague David Stewart is unwell this week, but he was very keen to speak in the debate today. And I hope that Edward Mountain's friend has also made a good recovery. When we think about the pressures on the NHS and the day-to-day needs of the service, I suppose hospital televisions isn't the thing that springs to most people's minds. But when I saw that Edward Mountain has secured this debate, I was quite keen to speak because my own mum has spent a huge amount of time in hospital actually recently, in and out. And even this week she's been in a sort of side room on her own. So having access to a television or your mobile phone or the outside world is really, really important. And what I've learned about hospital TVs this week is that it does vary right across the country and indeed within health board areas. So whilst my own mum, who was a patient in Myers Hospital in NHS Lanarkshire, you don't have to pay to use the television, but it's absolutely tiny. You have to be about 8 foot tall to reach it, and there's no remote control. So I had to warn my mum several times, don't you dare stand in a chair to try and change that. And of course, the nurses are rushed off their feet, so patients don't want to disturb the nursing staff to ask them to turn over the telly. But I thought it was really getting a bit much when I phoned her and she said, I'm trying to watch Coronation Street, and it was taking her 2 hours to watch it on her phone because the Wi-Fi was so poor. So I think there's lots of pressures on the NHS, but when we know that people who tend to be in hospital are people who are very sick, it's our older citizens who tend to be there for longer. I was visiting Edinburgh Royal Infirmary recently, and I was chatting to senior nursing staff about delayed discharge, and they talked about people who have been in hospital for as long as 12 months, a year longer. So for someone in that situation, access to a TV, preferably a free service, is absolutely vital. Gordon MacDonald has set out some of the historical context, which I think is important, but the government's been in administration for 12 years. This is 2019. We know how important it is for people to be well connected. I welcome the government's work on the strategy on tackling loneliness and social isolation. When people are in hospital, it's an extremely vulnerable time, and having access to TV, it's not just about watching Coronation Street, as important as that is, but people need access to Wi-Fi to be able to use their phone, because quite often people are coordinating what's happening in their life, putting arrangements in place for family members, perhaps they have caring responsibilities. So I hope that we continue to look at these things. I'm interested to hear about the pilot scheme and more about it, the pilot in NHS Lothian. Even in Lanarkshire, where I'm an MSP, there is that variation. So although in Myers there's no charge to watch the very small and high-up televisions, patients in Monklands do get that service from Hospidia, and it's not as expensive as the charges that Edward Mountain mentioned, but there are people in my region who just simply can't afford even £2–3 a day. So I know from her own clinical and professional background that the Minister will probably have lots of knowledge on this subject, and will, from her expertise in mental health, will know the importance to make sure that people don't feel lonely, isolated, and don't feel that they're a burden when they have to ask staff to come and change the channel so they don't miss Coronation Street. So I'm interested to hear what the Minister has to say. I'll look at Edward Mountain's petition. I think there's something here that we can all work together on. So I thank Edward Mountain for bringing forward